All right. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you guys are from. All right, let's begin this. Let's begin the stream.
Yes, yes, yes. And how are you, Sly, today? It's rainy day today, no? Maulang gabi sa inyong lahat. And we would like to greet our audience tonight who's watching and tuning with us tonight na maulang gabi and maulang araw. So, by the way, again, for those who are new to the stream, my name is James, the Resistance Trader. And with me, of course, my co-host here, Joseph Slice, Sylvester. Say hi to the guys, bro.
Hey guys, what's up? What's up?
We have a very interesting topic today and two very interesting guests as well. So mamaya natin tatawagin yung dalawa. They're still in the backstage right now.
Sige, sige.
But I think we will be asking them to join in a while. Papakilala natin silang dalawa. But of course, before we start the topic, Sly, of course, you there?
Yeah.
By the way, we will be discussing first today about NFT as a means of income stream. Di ba? Yan yung nakalagay dun sa ano natin eh.
Right.
Paano ba sila kumikita dito sa NFT? So, but before we start that topic, can we actually have a background from you being in the IT industry, bro? What is NFT? Ano ba yung NFT? What's all the fuss? What's this all about?
Okay, so in short, basically NFT just stands for non-fungible token. In terms of what has been appearing not just this year but years prior, because NFTs actually came out years ago. However, NFTs in general are basically kind of like a digital representation of something, whether it be art, music, or anything of that nature. What makes NFTs unique is because it is unique. For example, if you understand the cliche of there is no let's call it like this, you can make anything handmade. And the thing is about that handmade item, even though it looks the same for all different versions, it's still unique because there's something that's a little bit off about it, but it's still the same thing, yet there's a unique version of it. So that's what makes NFTs the way NFTs are. They're just they are unique items, digital items actually. Okay. In terms of what we're going to be discussing tonight, in terms of not just NFTs that we see, like OpenSea, Rarible, things like that, we'll be discussing, how people can actually earn from these NFTs. But first, we have to understand, what takes place in the background of what these NFTs are. Now, we know NFTs as, images, okay, like digital art basically. But along with those images, there's things that you have to consider, such as who the author of those NFTs are, and on top of that, every NFT will have some form of attribute. For example, uh, if you talk about a game, I think Axie Infinity is one of the biggest examples right now. If you look at what Axie Infinity is, basically they're monsters, and with those monsters, you have certain attributes about their power attacks. I think James, you know a little bit more about this than I do, but they have certain attributes, and they're never the same. Okay. On top of that, uh, those monsters, you use them within the game economy of Axie Infinity to either purchase up more monsters, get I think it's SLP, and then from
Yeah.
from there you want to kind of like cash that out or use it to buy more monsters to make a team. So
Yes, yes.
NFTs in that sense, in terms of the gaming sense, they're just they're unique in the form of what they offer in terms of their attributes and their owner who minted them. So yeah, that's just the basic understanding of what NFTs are, but they actually go far more in technical detail. I don't think we have time for
Yes,
this
indeed.
episode, but yeah, that's
Yep,
pretty much
yep.
the general idea.
Sige. With that, I would like to also siguro introduce our speakers for tonight, no, our guest. Of course, let's call on our one of our regular guests in the show, of course, attorney Rafael Padilla. He's the author of the um, FinTech Laws and First Principle, yeah, available in Rex Bookstore, and he's a lawyer, a practicing lawyer who also happens to be a cryptocurrency blockchain enthusiast. Good evening, Attorney Rafael Padilla. Welcome to the show. Kamusta?
Good evening, Luis.
Yes, yes. And another guest, that we have, of course, none other than the Chief Strategy Officer of one of the licensed VCE in the country today. VCE, by the way, for those who are new to the stream or new to cryptocurrency, is virtual currency exchange. And there's only, I think, 17 or 18 right now of them in the country. So he's the CSO or Chief Strategy Officer of one of them, BloomX to be exact. None other than Mr. Luis Buenaventura. Yeah,
Hey
good evening,
guys.
sir. Yes, yes.
Hello everyone. Hi, Sly, James,
Hey.
Raph.
Yeah.
Good to see you again, Raph. It's been a while. I'm really excited to be here. I thought I was going to be late, but I made it just in time, so I'm super happy and I'm excited to talk to you about all things NFT. It's gonna be a good show tonight, everyone. Thanks so much for
Awesome.
inviting me.
Yes, yes. And with that, no, thank you, Luis. Thank you, attorney, for being in the show tonight. Maraming salamat. You don't know how very thankful we are, gamers, traders, that you are here tonight with us to discuss all of this stuff. But before we actually go to the Q&A part, maybe we can ask each of our speakers today, yung mga guests natin. Maybe you can share shortly kung ano yung naging journey ninyo with NFT or cryptocurrency in particular for our audience to appreciate no, pinag-uusapan natin ngayon. Because most of the for your understanding, most of those who are watching us on our channel are number either traders or ngayon dahil nga sa nauso si play to earn model, marami ring mga gamers na nanonood sa atin. Maybe they will appreciate your sharing. Siguro nahin natin si maybe we can start with Attorney Padilla first, then we can go with Sir Luis after.
Okay. Maybe NFT related background. So back in December, around December 2017, I tried to like purchase some crypto kitties, but at that time, the Ethereum blockchain was choking because of the volume of transactions. It was traumatizing for me. I see the promise of the use case, but since then did not really involve myself in actually using NFT platforms or NFT products. Now at this time, especially in the light of the recent phenomenal growth of Axie Infinity, I'm very curious. I still don't use Axie Infinity, but very curious about the economy there. And not really that I am feeling some FOMO about Axie Infinity, but what I actually feel right now is more of for my kids. So I have 3 kids and they love to play games. What I'm thinking right now is I think I should be exposing them to these types of products because they can spend time playing and also at the same time earn something. I'm starting to gradually learn more about Axie Infinity so that I can teach my kids how to play this before they learn. It's possible that that can happen too, that they discover Axie Infinity and they just start playing this game.
Yeah, tama-tama, Attorney. We have Luis here, no? It's one of the NFT advocates. Sabi ko nga dun sa mga tropa friends ko, sabi ko, our peers, si Luis Buenaventura yung parang Cain ng NFT eh. Kasi diba there's Adam and Eve, 1, 2, and I think you're the third guy. Tama ba, Sir Luis? You're the third
Yeah,
guy to mint an NFT. So you're the Cain of NFT,
yeah, but I didn't
technically.
kill anyone. I think I'm largely blameless, naman.
Tama, tama. No, it's a joke. So sabi ko, he's the Cain. He's the
Mm-mm.
Cain of NFT. So yeah, about that, siguro you can share your journey naman, Sir Luis.
Sure, yeah. So I've been a crypto guy for about 7 years now. No, and in 2017, so about 4 years ago, I met a bunch of people in San Francisco who were making a new project that was crypto related but also art related. And if you know anything about me, like those are two of my favorite things. I'm very very deeply passionate about cryptocurrency. I'm very deeply passionate about art, And if you tell me that you've got a new business model that might have to do with both crypto and art, then you definitely have my attention. So what it was the world's first NFT art collection. They were parang formatted like cards, like trading cards, and I contributed three pieces of artwork to that collection. The entire collection was 30 individual cards, and then at the time, so get this now, these are the really crazy numbers. At the time, you could go to a website and pay something like 50 cents US in Ethereum to get one copy of these cards, right? So if you know anything about NFT art in 2021, those are laughable prices, no? Because like yung 50 cents US na yon, that doesn't even cover your gas fees right now.
Yeah,
You need at least 20 times that to
right
transfer
now.
anything. So yeah, so it was very funny na ganun lang kababa yung mga presyo that we were aiming for back then, and even then hindi siya nabenta,
Oh,
right? So it sold nothing. We had I wasn't the only artist. Obviously, there was many other artists involved. Some of them you might even be familiar with. Crypto Graffiti, one of the most
uh,
well-known, one of the original crypto artists. Philippe was another one. Anyway, so these were not unknown artists in the crypto community at the time, but for whatever reason, hindi sila makabenta, right? So
mm.
nalugi yung project, and then the startup itself actually shut down at the end of 2017, and I completely forgot about it, right? So I actually forgot what the project was even called. The title, the name of the project was Curio Cards. Now,
Yeah,
fast
yeah.
forward to March 2021. I'm logging in one random Sunday morning on Twitter, and then I've got a whole bunch of DMs from people that I don't know, and they're all asking me, "Hey man, do you still have any cards, any copies of those cards that you made for that project, Curio Cards in 2017?" And I'm like, I couldn't even remember what that was, so I had to look it up. And then, syempre, nung ginoogle ko siya, I was like, wait, it's like, is this that thing that we were talking about 4 years ago? So it turns out that someone dug up the original smart contracts for these Curio cards, and because of the timestamps in the Ethereum blockchain, they could prove that Curio cards was the very first NFT art project that we had ever made. Um, and that's kind of how I'm able to say that I'm the third artist to ever mint work in the Ethereum blockchain, kasi ako yung pangatlo na artist na na nasali dun sa collection na yon.
I
So
see.
it was through no I was not some kind of genius. I was not It was not some kind of masterful timing or anything like that. Actually, in a way, it was bad timing nga, kasi apparently 2017 was just too early for this stuff because people didn't get it. Now, come 2021, they looked at the fact that this project had existed for 4 years, and they were like, "Holy crap! This is actually the first NFT art project that the world has ever seen." And because of that, it skyrocketed in price. People were starting to pay zero point 0.5 ETH for one copy, and that zero point 0.5 ETH is at the time was about $2,000 because ETH was hitting about $4,000 at the time. So right now it's less. I mean, now Ethereum's only about $2,000, but still, I
Big
mean,
money.
it's way more money
Yeah,
than 50 cents, right?
of
So
course.
so it was pretty crazy na biglang nag-boom lang yung popularity niya many years after the fact. But the best thing about the experience was because the artists were supposed to be paid by the project. We could tell from the blockchain records that no one had ever been paid by the
Oh,
project. Kasi nalugay yung project eh. So lahat ng earnings ng project naipit lang dun sa Ethereum wallet that was parang aggregating all of the payments. It just sat there for 4 years. No one had ever claimed it because the startup who was supposed to disburse the payments, they didn't exist anymore. So the founders all came back. The founders of the Curio Cards startup, the business owners, they came back. They looked for the private keys. They were able to unlock the old Ethereum wallets, and then they disbursed
yeah.
the Ethereum earnings to the artists. And it was pretty funny because like, okay, so bigla lang, like randomly nagkapera lang kami.
And
And
yan
I was like,
saya, di
oh,
ba?
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean that's great. That's the best kind of money. The best kind of money is the money that you don't expect. So yun. So we got paid randomly 4 years later, So that was the first thing. Pero, the money that we got, it was still parang yung mga 50 cents, 50 cents from before. Kasi ganun yung pricing niya before, no? So it's not like we got massive amounts of money, but it was still very welcome because, I mean, it's kind of amazing na this whole NFT art thing apparently still works kahit na lugi yung company na nag-umpisa sa kanya. And that's actually the most powerful
Interesting.
thing about this, right?
Mm-mm.
Because if it's on the Ethereum blockchain, that stuff is on there permanently. It doesn't matter if the business that started this project or this idea, if it goes bankrupt, it's fine. It is going to be on the blockchain forever for as long as Ethereum exists. So yun yung parang takeaway. That's the key takeaway from that whole thing. The Curio Cards project, you can still look it up right now. You can still see all of the original artwork. You can go to OpenSea. I believe yung secondary market trading volume niya is something like 1,600 Ethereum or something like that. It's like massive amounts of money na yung umiikot dun sa collection na yun. So like, I mean, I don't really mind so much if I don't make money from it anymore. My name is always gonna be there. Eh?
Yeah.
So hindi, I don't have to continue making money from it. I can always use that to claim that I was there before many other artists. So yun yung that's the magic of NFT art for me. For as long as Ethereum exists, there will always be a record that this artist made this piece and he sold it on this day, and then these are the new owners. Hindi mawawala yun ever, and that is a very empowering technology. I mean, not the least of which is because it happens purely online, no? So, it's not like nilako ko yung mga cards na yun physically and I had tried to find hundreds of buyers. That's not what I did. In fact, all I did was sit around and forget about the project. And for some reason,
Yeah.
naging successful pa rin siya, no? So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yun. So that's it. That's my that was my initial NFT experience. And then after that, parang wala na. It was parang as soon as I kind of understood that, I was like, I can't ignore this NFT thing anymore because there's so many other applications to it. It just so happens that the art thing was so parang near and dear to my heart na hindi ko siya pwedeng, I can't ignore it, right? I
Yeah.
can't ignore it. I have to learn more about it. And that's kind of how I really, really got into the NFT space.
Thank you, Luis, for that sharing, no? And actually, I wanted to pick it right there where you left off na sabi mo kanina, you're an artist and then a crypto enthusiast at the same time. So NFT art for you is heaven. You know, when the crypto gaming started, by the way, I'm a gamer too. So I'm a gamer and I'm a crypto enthusiast. So for me, this is heaven. Diba? What's happening right now with this phenomenon, Axie, madami. There's a lot of crypto gamings out there. A lot of good projects na pwede na, hindi, not a financial advice, but as a gamer, I was actually looking into those projects personally. Like the likes of, name drop ko na, sina Crypto Blades, Ember Sword, diba? Every single of them, I'm checking it out personally because I personally love games, online gaming. Now, I don't want to jump the gun, but since you made mention about a company losing, 'di ba? Parang ano sila, nalugi sila no, in less short of saying. And then coming back and still making it work. Ngayon kasi there's a lot of this food happening around the community of gamers and cryptocurrency enthusiasts alike. Na I think you're aware of it since you're very active also in the Axie Infinity community, Luis. No? So, sabi nila, baka daw lugi na, magsasara na si Axie. You know, I've read your stuff. Pero let's put it on air right now. Pag-usapan natin dito, I don't want to jump the gun, but since you made mention of it, will that possibly happen also if it happens to Axie Infinity? The same thing that happened to you on your NFT art. Ayan.
Okay. So I guess it's slightly different, no? So these are different situations. The biggest difference is that what we did with Curio Cards kasi, that was artwork that was unique and we minted it back in 2017. So itong sa nangyayari sa Axie Infinity, this is what we call generative artwork, meaning wala namang actual artist na gumawa niyan, nabuo siya by the random algorithm nung breeding, no, of Axie Infinity. Kasi you can breed, you take two Axies, you can breed them, you get like a random assortment of attributes. So hindi siya hindi art yung lumabas doon. Ang lumabas doon is a game character, right? So I'll answer the technical question first. What happens if Axie Infinity, the company, goes bankrupt? All of the Axies themselves will continue to exist in Ethereum. And they will continue to exist as the characters that with the attributes and all of that stuff. Naka-save kasi yun sa Ethereum eh. And then yung graphics, the graphics of their whatever, yung look nila, right? That's saved in a different thing that's called the IPFS, the Interplanetary File System, which is just a place where you dump files. Pero hindi mo kailangang bayaran yun eh. That's it's like a free resource that
A
people can kind
freeware.
of
A freeware.
something like that. Now, okay, can you still play Axie Infinity pag nawala yung business? The answer to that is no, because the rules of the game are not stored in Ethereum. The rules of the game are stored in the game servers that are run by the business. Pag nawala yung servers na yon, hindi mo na malalaro yung game. No, you can't duel anymore. You can't do quests anymore. I don't even think you'll be able to log in. But the actual Axie characters themselves will stay in the blockchain forever. Now, what could you do with them kung ganun nga yung nangyari? Well, you can do something where a new company can come along and do something with those same characters. Kasi technically, ano na sila eh, parang na-orphan na yung assets na yun. And actually, this is kind of one of the interesting concepts of NFTs eh. Because the tokens themselves, hindi naman sila nakatali dun sa particular game or business or whatever. You can actually put them somewhere else. You can actually take your Axie character theoretically and put it in another game. Assuming na sinusupport ng game na yon yung, that you're moving characters around from one place to another. So that's actually a possibility. So you might see, if Axie Infinity, the business goes bankrupt, what you might see is a new game, maybe designed by someone else entirely, who are just using the assets of Axie Infinity. Maybe it'll be, I don't know, whatever, Maxi Infinity. I don't know what it was like. But the idea is yung assets kasi kaya mong siyang i-repurpose, pwede mo siyang gamitin somewhere else. Eh. So hindi mawawala yung Axie mo, but I mean, if you're afraid of things like mawawalan sila ng value, for example, there's a very high chance na pag nalugi yung business, bababa yung value ng mga Axie characters nyo. I mean, the average Axie team is worth, what, 80,000 pesos right now? I don't think it can maintain that price pag nalugi yung Sky Mavis, di ba? Pero, at the same time, hindi siya mawawala. Hindi naman, it doesn't disappear. It stays in the blockchain permanently. So that means that you can do something with it. But I don't think it will maintain the price. I think that's where people are most afraid, diba? Na parang, oh shit, like I'm spending 80,000
Malulugi
pesos,
sila.
100,000 pesos for these teams, and then biglang what? Like the site is not accessible, the site is unstable, people can't withdraw their funds, stuff like that. And syempre, most people are starting to say, it's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme. I literally wrote about this 1 week ago, saying na pag dumami na yung mga tao and then bumagal na yung server, people are gonna start calling this stuff a Ponzi scheme and a scam. And this is exactly what they're doing right now.
What's happening right now? Yeah,
that's exactly what's happening right now. Because people are afraid. Yan. Laki na nung pinasok nila na pera, diba? So they're trying to make sure that they can protect their investment. I actually think that the Sky Mavis guys know what they're doing. And it's hard to scale the way that they're doing na dumoble yung user numbers nila in 2 weeks.
Actually, almost triple from the time last quarter, diba?
Right.
Last quarter.
So hindi madali yung basta-basta mag-upgrade ka lang na maraming servers. Hindi ganun kasimple yun eh. So the technology side of what they're doing, where they're trying to scale to, I don't know, 1 million users or whatever it is, it's very, very hard. You can't expect people to just fix this stuff on the fly. But yun nga, medyo nasanay kasi tayo in the crypto world na everything happens so fast eh. So we're a little spoiled. It's different when it's a game, no? Because games are actually very technically difficult to pull off eh, for many reasons. So,
of course.
Ayun, yun yung, I would say just be patient. Like I'm pretty deeply invested in Axie Infinity also, but like I'm not super worried, to be honest. I'm not worried na they're gonna run away with our money. Jeez, we like all of the founders are very well known on Twitter. Like we've seen all of their faces, diba? Like I don't think they can hide. That's gonna be very hard for them to hide and
Yeah.
run away and stuff like that. So ayun, I'm not super worried about that.
Sige, sige.
I'm sure that like Attorney Raff and like Sly, I'm sure they have other ideas also. But
Yeah.
like me personally, I'm not super worried.
Sige. Well, actually, the questions that we have for tonight includes some of the things that you discussed na. But sige, pero marami pa tayong pwedeng pag-usapan kasi so let me ask those questions on air. Do you think NFT improves gameplay of online games? How? So partially you answered this one. Tapos yung second question that partially was answered also. Ano yung advantage of putting a game in the blockchain? The pros and the cons. So you made mention of all of those stuff a while ago. So maybe Sly and Attorney
Sure, please,
Raphael
please,
can do
guys.
their
Yeah.
sharing. Yan, sige. Sige, Attorney Rafi.
I just want to give plus in response to those questions. I just want to give +1 to what Luis mentioned. Have nothing further to add. Exact that's also my answer to that. Having this asset, no, that you can also own gives more incentive to players to become more invested in the game. But I actually have one question, if I can ask this, since we're already in that conversation of like the speculative aspect when it comes to the prices of the Axie. So I'm an outsider, and right now I'm just really curious about the economic behaviors in the platform. And we've seen similar phenomenons in other games. If I can give one quick example, and maybe we can discuss this later, is old school RuneScape. I'm not sure if the audience is even familiar with that game. It's kind of like a mass.
That
It's
is an
also
old school game.
it is yeah, from the name itself, right? And there are also weird, strange economic behaviors that have developed organically and spontaneously in that ecosystem.
Right.
And I'm seeing similar things right now, even as an outsider in Axie Infinity, and that's the thing that makes me really curious about Axie Infinity. But one question that I want to have is what is the culture or the mentality that dominates right now in the Axie ecosystem? Is it still more, and this is my assumption, because the game is just really, really fun, so people will continue to play? Or are we starting to see more people participating in the platform, playing, or because of this speculative mentality that I'm here to make money, and not just to make money by grinding, but make money by speculating with the Axie token? I honestly can't answer that as an outsider. But what fascinates me really is my assumption that people are really enjoying this game, and it's nice to see that they're having so much fun and also making money at the same time.
I want to be honest. Sige, sige, Luis. Sige, ikaw muna.
Sige,
Ikaw
maikli
muna.
lang yung sa akin. Maikli lang yung sa akin. Kasi like, I actually have some very specific thoughts about what Raph said. I think the first thing is we cannot divorce the earning aspect from the fun aspect of the game kasi it was kind of baked in kasama siya dun sa design ng game So it's very hard to ask the question of would I still play this game for fun if I can't earn from it? I don't think we can answer that question because that would be like removing masyado malaki yung component na tinanggal mo from the game in order for that to be an answerable question. So that's one. The other thing about yung speculation naman, actually the reason ko ba tumataas yung mga presyo ng Axie teams is because tumataas yung presyo ng SLP. So yung cost of creating the teams because of the breeding mechanism is actually going up, and that because of that the breeders need to charge more for those teams, otherwise malulugi sila. So now what you've got is this weird escalation of price na actually ang nangyayari ngayon, tumataas pa siya lalo kasi hindi maka-earn yung mga players ng SLP kasi down yung server. So instead of getting a flood of more SLP tokens in the economy, nauubos yung SLP kasi the breeders are buying it all up so they can create more teams. Because kahit na hindi nakakalaro yung mga players, may mga bumibili pa rin ng teams because they're trying to get into the game. Gets? So parang hindi balance yung economy So the game has to be operational in order for this thing to actually work, which I think is I mean, you would say that for every game. So
Yeah, although what we can assume is maybe that will be self-correcting. But if the price is too high, then people will no longer like see that I don't think this is a good price for that, so they won't buy. So the price will correct.
I
Right?
hope so. I hope so.
Okay lang yung I have no issues with the speculative aspect kasi you are right. that's needed and that's baked into the system eh. Pero ang ano lang ang concern ko lang is, will people still continue to play Axie if they're not making money simply because it's fun, right? And I hope so. Although
Mm.
not because I'm not a player, I honestly can't answer.
Sige. Ako Sir Raffy, attorney, sagutin ko yan on my personal experience or my personal note. I will not answer that for other players. Ngayon kasi, like, I'm also a trader by the way, so I also earn from trading. Now, what I did, I play myself kasi yung iba, you know naman the practice, maybe Luis knows this. I don't know if Attorney Raffy knows this. But there are managers and there are scholars. So some managers are actually not playing. They're just there for the money grab. Now ako, personally, I do play the game. And what keeps me frustrated is not just the part that I don't earn SLP personally, but because I cannot finish my game. So that's to answer you on my perspective as a gamer naman. So will that apply to everyone? As Luis, that will be hard for us to scale. But of course, the first adapters, yung mga unang nag-adapt ng game are definitely gamers. Because the price of Axie back then, like for example, shout out kina Aldrin Rabino, yun, Luis knows this guy. This guy doesn't earn that much on the early stage, no, on the ebb of Axie Infinity, but is one of the first to play. So I guess he's there for fun. So yun yung tingin ko. But yung hype right now, yung nangyayari right now with all of the people who wanted to cash in and join the game, definitely that will be the latter, the one that you said, because they wanted to earn the money. But yun nga, personally, I wanted to play the game. And siguro kahit na ako, hindi naman siguro yung mawala, but even if the cost of SLP goes down, I'll still play. Kasi sa akin, ang titignan ko na lang on the long run, hahaba lang naman yung ROI mo, yung ano mo, 'di ba, yung return of investment mo because you've invested money. But of course, 'di ba, I cannot expect not to earn if I give money out personally. So yun. But if I'll play the game even if the SLP goes down or hindi na ganun kataas or profitable, I will still play. Ayan.
Is it correct to forecast that if Axie Infinity continues to grow and we have more users, more people earning SLP, then there will be more SLP in the market, and so this will result in the price of SLP also going down.
So I'll take a stab at that. I'm sure James, you have other thoughts also, but I'll try to take a stab at it because I've been thinking about this for a really long time. During the early part of the year, that is exactly what was happening, Raph. Na ang nangyayari, masyadong maraming SLP earners. So there's too much SLP in the market. They were liquidating it for whatever, USDT, maybe peso if they can find someone who can trade it. Basically, what was happening was the market was getting flooded with too much SLP.
Yeah.
And the price of SLP was low. It was like 2 pesos, 3 pesos, whatever, right? And then now it's like 14. So we know that when there is an economic imbalance, there's too much SLP, the price goes down. We know that if there is not enough SLP, the price goes up. So that part, we understand that. That's a very basic part of the ecosystem. The only reason why I don't think you can read the market as cleanly as that anymore is because fucking FTX now has futures trading for SLP.
Yeah, and that's where all the problems come in.
So now because there's derivatives, now you cannot make these macro reads on the market. And I pointed that out also with AXS. As soon as AXS got its own perpetual futures in Binance, na yung size nung perpetual futures niya was 100 times the size of the Axie economy. I was like, okay, yeah, there's no way to read this now. Kasi paglalaroan na siya ng mga like people who want to short or whatever, wala na siyang kinalaman dun sa actual economy itself.
Yeah.
So the fundamentals are shot.
Yeah. So your fundamentals are no longer readable in that kind of traditional way, no? And I think that most reasonable people, kasi they can read the spot market and they can kind of understand what's going on there. Pero pag leveraged kasi siya, gets really
highly
messy.
Speculative. Yeah, that's the term.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sige. Well, very, very good discussion, attorney. And Luis, so let's proceed. Siguro, I think we got, no, we got some of the things covered very, 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 very clearly. So, ito question ko will go all, with both the gentlemen that's with us tonight. Sabi nila kasi, 'di ba, is NFT gaming considered gambling? There was this fuss na bawal na daw i-stream ang Axie sa Facebook because they say that it's gambling. So let's talk about that. Is NFT gaming considered gambling provided that you need to invest money before you actually earn money from the game?
I think
Siguro
this one
both.
is definitely for Raf. I want to hear Raf's thoughts on
Sige.
this.
Yeah, let's
I
go.
on its face, I don't think so. Uh, I fail to see any reason why this can be considered as gambling. Maybe if you can help me. Again, I'm an outsider here, so I don't see the nuances that could make this as a gambling activity. From a superficial awareness of the project, you can even as an outsider, I cannot avoid hearing or learning about Axie Infinity. It's all is in the podcasts, it's in the news. Based on those limited on information I have, I don't see any reason why this can be considered as a betting activity.
I actually don't think it is gambling, but I think that the particular Facebook policy that you're talking about, I think it's just because there's real money involved. I think that's it. And parang meron silang parang very kind of not very nuanced look at gaming, where as soon as the game has anything to do with real money, they won't let it be streamed on Facebook gaming. So I mean that includes things like Hold'em poker, or that's why you never see anyone. I'm sure there are many Filipinos who play Hold'em online professionally. No one streams that shit on Facebook because bawal eh, diba? So same thing here. Although obviously poker is actually really gambling, and I don't believe Axie Infinity is.
So
So
that's Facebook see AXS or SLP as money.
yeah, so cryptocurrencies are money according to Facebook now by that definition, I
Yeah.
guess. I don't know.
Actually, but there was this note coming from one of the streamers who actually took it head on with Facebook and asked literally, are they banning Axie? So it was answered. I just don't know since we know how highly centralized and dictatorial Facebook is.
Yeah.
So how long it will be there for? But for a while since the fuss was out, it was answered na no, it's not the case. Now, that's one of the food that people are trying to spread out about the game, about everything,
Isabong
uso
is
sa industry.
gambling.
Ah,
Isabong is gambling.
sabong, oo,
Yeah,
sabong,
I mean,
definite
yun naman talagang
talpakan, di ba?
gambling eh.
Apples and orange.
Oo,
Difference,
definitely.
no?
And tumatawa si Sly. Oo. Nagsasabong kaya ta Sly eh, kaya tumatawa ka eh. So anyway, eto, for both gentlemen who's here and who's also cryptocurrency enthusiast. Do you think NFT gaming economy is sustainable? Ayan. Why or why not?
Hmm.
Maybe
Uh,
I can give a quick answer and
Sige,
then
sige.
well, I honestly think so. But however, what Luis just described about the creation of this derivatives market where the underlying are the native assets in this gaming ecosystems makes me at this point really want to reflect on that question, and suddenly I'm not sure.
hmm.
Because one of my the reason why I'm amazed with Axie Infinity is how you can see some economic principles that we apply in real life actually being applied in these ecosystems. That's really interesting to me. But yeah, even those principles that we see happen in this ecosystem, we can no longer predict or we can longer observe the same results now because of
The
of
derivatives.
derivatives market.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
this must be why also I asked the question earlier. In this ecosystem, are the traders more dominant in terms of the mentality and the thinking, or do we see more people playing this just for fun?
Mm. Yeah, that's hard to answer, no, because we can only comment based on volume. We can't comment based on actual number of traders because it's not as if Binance or FTX will tell us how many actual individuals are behind those whale trades, diba? So we don't know. All we know is that for sure the derivatives market is 100x the size of the actual in-game Axie economy. So it outnumbers it 100 to 1. Do I think that it's sustainable? I think that it has a shot to be sustainable. I think that I've managed to chat with some of the Sky Mavis guys a little bit on Twitter, and they're very forthcoming about the roadmap. So you can actually look about what they're planning on building, what they're planning on adding. And one of the things that I thought really jumped out at me was that they're planning on adding a lot of different ways for you to spend SLP within the economy. So hindi na lang yung kasi at the moment dalawa lang yung parang directions ng pera mo eh. You are earning SLP from playing the game or winning duels or playing quests. And the second thing is gagastusin mo yung SLP na yun in order to breed your own teams, right? So those are kind of the two ways. Eh. They need more. They need more ways to spend your SLP, I think. And they're gonna try to do that. They're gonna do there's a whole bunch of new features that are kind of being designed. Now, this is not as easy as just writing a smart contract because it's a game na, so you're programming new features into the game, you're creating new assets, you have to test everything. Like hindi mabilis gawin yung mga sinasabi nila. So I would say that although it has a good shot of becoming sustainable, it's a work in progress, and you have to keep that in mind when you come in with your 80,000 pesos or whatever to buy your first team. We are in a very volatile, fragile time in the life of this game because you've got 500,000 people who are trying to play it right now all at the same time, and the servers can't handle it. So there's going to be quite a bit of risk. It was actually weirdly less risky to play it earlier in the year because at least you could play the game. Right? Kasi ngayon, yung problem mo is gagastos ka ng 80K tapos hindi ka makalag on. So like, yikes, that's not the best user experience ever. I mean, they're trying to fix it, of course, right? They're actively updating the community every day or so with parang yung mga bug resolutions and things like that. So I think that it's a work in progress for sure.
Okay.
Can I also add something, James?
Sige po.
You know, in Bitcoin, we say that we have some fundamentals, no? And we somehow expect them to work. But because of like derivatives and trading activities, sometimes even those fundamentals don't work anymore, because at the end of the day, even if you have fundamentals, the market will dictate, no, the price or the value. And that's that's where the role of the hodlers are become relevant. For example, for us to sustain the price of Bitcoin, for instance, I think we can apply by analogy the same principle in this gaming ecosystems. Even if you have like derivatives market and all that, whether this ecosystem will be sustainable will depend on the, if I can call them, paylers, which parang hodlers, misspelled players, no? Depende rin yan sa mga players. If as long as the players really believe in this game also, kailangan medyo may ganung religious na mentality din, na they believe in the game, they enjoy playing the game. And then I guess at some point this somehow helps also for to support the price, the value of AXS or SLP, and yun na nga yung system.
That's actually really well said, Raf. I really like that concept. I think that we're already seeing that. Like yung whole Salamat Axie na hashtag, that's that's like a battle cry. Yun yung version ng To the Moon in Axie, right? So I think we're seeing that kind of religious fanaticism already starting to form around this stuff. Which is, and I agree that I think that is important because you need faith to see you through some of these really, really rough spots in the evolution of this technology. Parang even when all the evidence is to the contrary, you still have to believe that eventually maayos din yan, it'll get better, and then the price will come back, blah, blah, blah. Kasi if everyone becomes disappointed, frustrated, they leave the game, then your economy is fucked. No, there's no way for you to come back from that.
Mm.
So you need that kind of level
Yeah.
of faith, which is kind of funny because we're working technology, but yeah, it's true
Yeah, the
though, very true.
community will save it eh.
Yeah,
Mm.
It will be the ano eh, the parang the baseline eh. Even
Mm.
if speculators leave the platform, the community of players who play this will still be there.
And I would like to add to what Attorney Padilla was saying a while ago, the hodlers thing that will come in. You know, there will be hodlers for AXS because basically that's a governance token, Attorney. If you're not familiar with AXS, AXS is actually the governance token for Axie. So there will be whales holding into that because what they will actually have the say on where and how the company or the gameplay will go. Kasi 'di ba they have the when you hold the AXS, you have the governing token. Meron kang right to actually ask, excuse me, the programmers to do or to go this way or that way. So yeah, yeah, makes sense yung mga sinasabi ni attorney that there will be hodlers who's gonna like even if there is futures, they will likely to ano no to
Yeah.
put a resistance or a support somewhere out there, 'di
James,
ba?
yeah, Paylors.
Paylors, tama.
Paylors, misspelled
So,
hirap
P.
sabihin. It's so hard to say that though, bro.
paylors.
At saka ang thinking ko kasi dito nasanay naman tayo na we play games without earning anything eh.
Yeah.
Only
Mm-mm.
deriving the pleasure of playing eh.
We even pay for that if you remember, 'di ba? If you wanted the stuff in a game, you actually make it, 'di ba? Nag-iipon ka then you ano,
Oo.
'di ba? You wanted to
So
buy that stuff.
the price right now doesn't matter. If you
Oo.
just like save that in the
Mm.
future, you might be able to sell that at a better price.
'Di ba? Now imagine if Axie will also do that in their economy. Wala pa eh. But what they did is to sell their lands. What if they start selling in-game items and knowing that you're gonna earn it in the game also in the long run, then I think that will be big, magiging ano pa siya, that
Yeah.
development will spell something more
I
in
mean,
the
I
near
think
future.
they're probably thinking about that.
Oo.
Pero hindi lang kasi it's not just a matter of creating the assets. It's also a matter of balancing the game
Yeah,
with
yeah.
respect to those new things. Eh. Hindi siya ganun
Oo.
kadali, no, na you're just selling artwork or whatever. Ito
Oo.
kailangan mo isipin na parang pucha, balance pa yung dueling system, kung nag-a-add ka
Oo.
ng, kung pwede ka palang bumili ng accessories or stuff like that. I don't know. It
Mm-mm.
might take a while to figure that out. Diba?
And the Axie team, I think, are very smart. I know Jiho has background in monetary science. These are people who have really studied in depth yung economics ng ano nila, nung game nila, no?
Mm-mm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too.
Sige. Maybe we can proceed with the next question, which will go to Luis. So, let's see. The next question is, paano daw ini-encash ng mga Axie gamers, managers, players, or scholars yung kanilang SLP to ano? This is the very interesting part for our viewers right now, especially for those who are new players, new managers, or new scholars to the game. Gusto nila malaman yan kasi 'di ba, unlike Bitcoin and Ethereum, let's coin those two, that you can sell it peer to peer directly. SLP is a different story, di ba? It will came from well, technically speaking, it's what do you call this one, like ano siya eh, side chain. It's a side chain of Ethereum. It's a side chain of Ethereum. And you cannot actually sell it right away, unlike ETH and BTC, which is the most popular coins right now. So let's discuss more about it and probably how Blumex can help these people, diba?
Yeah, well, I mean, we do have some technology limitations there. I mean, although we can offer to accept the SLP of the players, and we do. I mean, that's how I know na totoo yung numbers ng Axie Infinity, hindi siya hype eh, because I can observe it directly from our customers every month. No, I can see the averages. So, yeah, we can help there. Pero the thing that this is the part where there is a technological limitation. Kailangan ERC20 version yung papadala nyo sa amin. No, this is the part where it becomes quite expensive kasi you go from the sidechain where everything is free, di ba? Pag nasalog ka pa ng Ronin sidechain kasi libre lahat ng transfers mo eh. Oras na kinonvert mo yung SLP na yon into normal Ethereum, you get hit by exactly the same gas fees as before. So now it's like I don't know, $10, $15, sometimes $20, ganon. Na masakit, diba? Obviously, because like if you're earning, I mean, God forbid that these kids earn less than 30,000 pesos this month, but it looks like that's probably around the range that they're gonna earn, no?
Yeah, because of
30,
the
40,000
problem with the
pesos.
server.
Right. So
Oo.
parang, yeah, so I think that it's gonna be an average of about 40,000 pesos per player this month, which by the way is still about 4 times the minimum wage of the Philippines. So that's hardly a bad number. Pero masakit yung $20 na gas fee kung
Yeah.
kailangan nilang mawalan ng 1,000 pesos just to send it to Bloom. But that being said, I have not found any other way to do it. I don't see anyone else building directly for the Ronin sidechain because it's kind of a very niche part of the ecosystem. Um, but I'm sure that if anyone ever does that, they will immediately just get all of the Axie players, right? Because like a laki ng discount na yun, it's like 1,000 pesos off. That's a freaking insane discount if they will just accept it, if someone could just accept it directly on the Ronin chain. Hindi pa namin siya magawa. There are some very distinct technological limitations to what we can currently do. But at the moment, all what we can offer is na SLP on normal base one, layer one Ethereum. That's what we can do. And I'm pretty sure that we're giving the best prices in the country that we can. Pero yun nga, yung gas fees are your cost. It's not. It can't be ours. Yun lang. Yun yung limitation namin.
I think you might be the only one who actually has a price. I'm not sure if other VCEs are offering this service.
Yeah, wala pa. But I'm pretty sure that like you can't have been looking at this industry in the last 6 months and not be thinking that, right? And I have some other thoughts about other VCs, pero like there's no way that these guys are looking at the crypto community in the Philippines that's hindi nila napansin yung Axie. Come on, man, like that you'd have to be blind. So
Yeah.
you gotta imagine that they're doing something like that, which actually makes me incredibly confused why Coins PH, like of all things, yung sinuport
Nag-drop
nila
ng
was
competitor si Luis. Oh.
Kyber Network.
Yeah.
It's like anyway.
Grabe si
So
Luis,
yeah,
nag-drop ng competitor niya. But
I don't
anyway,
wanna I don't
yeah.
wanna be disparaging to my competitors. I
Oh,
just thought
yeah.
that was a very confusing choice. Yun lang,
Sige
that's all.
lang.
I'm not gonna I don't wanna be too
May follow-up
hostile.
question, Luis. May follow-up question. Bakit daw kasi? Why does not players cannot directly transfer funds, ASLP, AXS from Ronin to exchanges like you yourselves?
Kasi hindi ganun kadali na mag-connect dun sa mga bagong sidechains. You really have to devote engineering time to it. You have to devote some liquidity to it. In other words, kailangan may nakaabang kami na Ethereum na para mabayaran yung gas that's going through that bridge. It's not easy eh. And to be honest, we're a small team. We're a small team and ang dami namin ibang ginagawa at the same time. No? So we're all trying to improve our product. We're trying to stabilize the service. We're trying to keep our prices low. We're trying to onboard more customers. Dude, it's exactly the same problem as Sky Mavis.
Yeah.
Parang we're all trying to scale at the same time eh. So yung magagawa lang namin at the moment is SLP on Ethereum. At least we can give you pesos for it. At least hindi ka na kailangan dumaan ng multiple hops, di ba?
Yep,
Diretso
yep.
yung SLP PHP trading pair namin eh. That's all we can currently do right now. Obviously, if there was a way for me to expedite yung parang a direct integration with Ronin, I do that. At the moment, hindi pa namin siya ma-attempt. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that's the thing that if anyone can pull that off, you will immediately absorb the entire Axie community of the Philippines.
Is it safe to assume that the very reason really why we cannot do it right now is because technically hindi pa siya nagagawa na technical aspect yung communication between chains like Ronin chain as a side chain going to the actual Ethereum blockchain which you operate on your exchanges, tama ba? Well,
I'm not 100% sure kasi so I mean we know that it already works because Sky Mavis did it, right? So yung Ronin bridge exists eh. So we know that it is technically possible. The problem is hindi ko lang alam kung open na yung bridge na yon to
Yeah.
any other participants. Like I don't know. And to be honest, that's kind of where my knowledge about it ends because I haven't looked at the code directly.
And that's the
So I
reason kung bakit hindi sila makapagpapalit sa exchanges. Because if you as an exchange, you're an exchange guy and you don't know it yet, then probably the other exchanges too does not know it yet. That's the reason why.
I have a feeling that Sky, and maybe Raf has ideas here too. I have a feeling that Sky Mavis is trying to keep an arm's length distance from the exchanges. Kasi hindi dapat nila trabaho yun eh.
Yes,
Mm.
that will if they don't do that on an arm's length basis, they will be considered as a virtual asset service provider.
Yeah.
And now
Mata-technical sila dito, kumbaga, attorney.
now would be applied to them. Kasi as a blockchain-based gaming platform, you don't fall within that definition of virtual asset service provider, but exchanges are. So I think you're right there, no.
Mata-technical sila kapag hindi nila hindi nila ginawang arm's length lang yung access.
But I think also the facility that Bloom is currently providing is helpful enough. If I'm Axie user, as long as I can exchange my SLP to peso, that's very helpful already.
Sige.
Small naman yung community if they want to if they're expecting anything more than that.
And speaking of that, siguro, attorney, ask natin, Luis, paano nga ba mag-exchange from, if I'm a player, let's just give our viewers a bird's eye view. How do I exchange my SLP earned from from gaming to your exchange as pesos?
Sure. Well, the first thing is you just have to have an account with BloomX, no? So at the moment, kasi waitlist kami. So, you put your email in the waitlist. If you're an Axie Infinity player, we will prioritize you. So you just need to tell us what your email address in the waitlist is. You tell our customer support what your email address was, and then we'll get you an account as soon as we can. So parang automatic prioritization pag Axie Infinity player ka, because we are trying to support the community as much as we can.
Grabe. Diba?
Well, ganun. Malakas kayo sa amin eh. So from the Ronin bridge, from the Ronin wallet, meron kasing page doon na pwede mong padala sa kahit anong Ethereum address yung SLP mo pag na-claim mo na siya. Instead of putting your MetaMask address, you just put in an Ethereum address na inassign ng Bloom sa inyo.
Okay.
Diretso na yon. So, isang bayaran lang yung gas mo. So, you go from Ronin, you pay the gas to convert it into ERC20, yung technical term for this. So, ERC20 na siya, and then instantly, papadala na siya dun sa Bloom address mo. It'll show up in maybe about 10 to 15 minutes. I do this myself every couple of weeks kasi may scholars din ako eh. So, I do this for our own SLP. Tapos, from inside Bloom, ko-convert ko siya lahat into peso. Tapos doon ko na rin pinapadala yung bayad ng mga scholars ko. Because like the scholars don't, well, at least mine anyway, my scholars don't actually want SLP. They just want pesos in their Gcash. Right? So doon ko na ginagawa. Diba? Tapos diretso na sa kanila. I'll just message them, hey man, I'm gonna send you X thousand pesos. Ito na yung revenue share natin for this month. Ganun.
So ibig sabihin, for the wallet side ni Bloom, no? Once you made it into ERC20, tapos nasa wallet ko na siya sa Bloom. Kasi I'll be having a wallet in Bloom na ERC. I can already convert that to pesos.
Diretso na yun. You can actually go SLP to pesos, and then you can even use that pesos if you want to buy something else. So you can buy Ether, you can buy Bitcoin, whatever. No, whatever you want to do. You could buy AXS with it, I guess.
Yeah.
Pwede rin yun. Yun. So typically ako, I have a small personal fund that I always keep inside my BloomX account. Kasi I will usually speculate on small coins. Not a lot of money, just a little bit lang, just to kind of play around and get a feel for the market. And that's kind of how I first parang bought into AXS. I guess a few months ago. I remember I bought around nasa 180 pesos yung AXS price back then.
Grabe, ang mura nun
So that was pretty good entry point. Yeah, so I was like,
mura nun.
Galing ko pala. pero sobrang dami kong talo.
It's 1,000 right now, no? So
Yeah,
that's almost times 10.
Yeah. Mga times 8 siya actually. Kasi ganun eh. So parang feeling ko ang galing ko with the Axie Infinity investment, pero actually sobrang dami kong talo. Yung mga Chainlink, Polkadot, lahat yun baba, like it's all red right now, right? So I was like, fuck, buti na lang yung AXS ko mataas. So yun lang yung panalo ko ng investment in the last God, like 2 months, I guess, kasi everything is down eh.
Yeah.
So, oh
Ito
well,
lang yung hindi
crypto.
affected. Ito lang yung hindi affected ng tweet ni Elon eh. Pagka si Elon nag-down, nagda-dump yung market.
Man, like
AXS and SLP, they don't care.
I really
Diba?
hope he doesn't discover Axie Infinity yet. Like that guy he has active effect on the market,
James, James,
tweeting about cryptocurrency.
Yes, attorney. You're saying something.
relation to what you said na ito lang yung hindi down. Are you can I ask if you're beginning to sense that there's going to be really a new trend? Whereas sometime this year, sometime around this time last year, we refer to that as DeFi summer. Then early this year, NFT. And then
Pwede.
this time, right, triggered by the Axie Infinity phenomenon, we will see this new trend on blockchain games. I'm
I
somehow
don't
sensing that.
I don't say I'm sensing that because I can see that happening. Kasi nga, di ba, we're not just talking of Axie Infinity, we're talking about NFT gaming. And there's a lot out there. Merong crypto blades, you have those DeFi pet coming. All of this stuff are on, parang nandun sila to grab the spot from Axie. They wanted to have the share of that pie right now. And what's happening right now with Axie is, well, I'm not saying it's a blessing, but it can be a blessing in disguise for the industry itself. Why? Because it's giving time for other projects to get highlighted. Diba? So it's not just, hindi lang si Axie ang bida. NFT gaming is now gaining traction on itself as an industry. Tama si attorney. So we might, I cannot just sense it. I can see it unfolding right in front of me. Kasi ako talaga, binabantay, nag-NFT game hunting ako right now. I'm looking for projects. I don't know if Luis invested on Amber Sword, but yeah, I did. I'm looking at it. Ayan, I'm looking at it. So, yun, tinitignan ko yung mga projects na yan personally because I am feeling and I'm seeing that this will be, or more or less, this will be the future. That's for me.
Which is actually going to be very good for our economy, because you have really individuals who are actually gaining some source of livelihood with right now Axie Infinity, but with more blockchain games rising because of this if we can call it blockchain game summer. I don't know what's the
Play to earn is
play
Yeah.
summer.
yeah, yun yung ginagamit
Actually,
nila na ano eh, na term
speaking of that, gentlemen, do you know there was this coined term right now, 'di ba may OFW, overseas Filipino workers. There's this thing the phenomenon produced the metaverse Filipino workers or
Yeah,
MFW. So there may
Yeah,
ganyan, may ganyan na.
sila Gabi yun eh. Yeah, yung
Oh.
term na yun. Yeah, I don't know if that'll catch on, but it'll definitely catch on here in the Philippines for sure. Yeah, I actually agree that we are seeing a P2E summer, play to earn summer. I think that crypto needs something new and exciting to change the narrative against it. And I think na hindi na kaya ng, Elon Musk tweeting about Bitcoin is not gonna cut it anymore. And, neither is El Salvador turning it into a national currency. It needs to be something else entirely. And so I think the narrative that was really catching on the early part of the year was NFT art. Now I think it's P2E. And I think that one actually has more legs. In other words, it's got bigger potential, bigger reach, because there's a hell of a lot more gamers in the world than there are artists, right? I mean, you don't need that many artists. But the gamer penetration in the general parang population of the
Public,
world is very, very high. So I think that one has a much bigger chance of becoming the next big wave. Now, whether or not it's going to be permanent, it's kind of hard to tell, no? In 2017, we had so many ICOs, of which not a lot of them are still left. I mean, Tron is still here, so wow. For better or for worse, I guess we got Tron out of it. Yun, and then pero those waves, there will always be at least a few na matitira from that, and yun yung that's what I'm looking forward to. Like what we'll see will be winners from this. It seems like Axie Infinity has legs kasi mahaba yung ang laki nung niya head start niya, to be honest. That being said, professional big game development studios are looking at this shit, right? Like
Yeah.
Epic Games,
Like,
invested $1 billion in their own metaverse. Like, holy crap, man. Okay, so ito na
Mm.
yan, big boys na, di ba?
yeah. And there are many fantastic actually statistics relating to Axie Infinity that they actually break on a weekly basis, if not on a daily basis. But
Right.
one thing, if you have noted, yung what they're looking, one thing that they're looking at right now is the possibility of Axie Infinity breaking the record of Fortnite for the largest Discord server.
Yeah.
Grabe.
Crazy yun, no?
Actually,
Considering
yeah.
yung exponential growth ng Axie Infinity could potentially breach or break that record, and which is another testament, no, we testament on how this community of users, it's not just the Sky Mavis team or the product itself, it's the convergence of great team, product, as well as community, all making this the phenomenon that it is.
Can I ask a stupid question? So this is a very Tito question, but maybe you guys know the answer to this. Wala ba kasing in-game chat yung Fortnite? Kasi feeling ko may in-game chat yun eh. So
Ah,
kaya hindi nila kailangan ng malaking Discord server. I don't know like
I have
wala
no
kasi
idea, Luis, kasi I'm
Yeah,
not playing
okay.
Fortnite in the first
Okay.
place. Yan. Hindi ko alam.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Meron. Slide, do you have an idea with the question of Luis?
Okay. Yung push to talk nila.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so
Mm.
well, okay, so I mean, not that I don't know. I think that Axie Infinity having the world's largest Discord server is an unbelievable statistic. Like that is possibly the most impressive thing about this whole thing, because they somehow got 250,000 Filipinos into a single Discord. Oh, yeah, it's very hard to do that, and it took them 6 months before they banned it. So like,
Speaking
parang,
of
wow,
which, nga pala yung mga
that's a
bagos do sa
milestone.
stream, no? Just so
Yeah.
you're updated, the Filipinos were banned in the not just in any Filipino, but if your IP is addressed in the Philippines, at
Holy
hindi ka naman
shit.
banned, you can enter, but you're muted. You don't know what's funny, because
Yeah.
sometimes I need support. I have to talk in Spanish for me to get
Wow.
support. Yeah, kasi pwede ka mag-chat sa Spanish support.
So you're
Basta,
always like, lo siento, señor. Ganun, that's it.
basta, you talk in Spanish. You talk in Spanish. You go to the Spanish chat, ask something in Spanish. Someone will answer you. You just go to Google Translate. Because
Wow.
Spanish is the closest, the closest language we have in Filipino to begin with.
I actually think that Bahasa might be slightly closer, but like but I guess we already speak Spanish kasi we count in Spanish, so medyo
Mm-mm.
mas gets natin, no? Pero yeah, that's
Mm.
really funny. Like
Mm.
I hope na you don't have to do that anymore. Kasi
Sana.
unmute na siya, 'di ba? Na-unmute na eh. So
Yeah. Recently. Mm-mm. Pero mahaba yung mahaba yung parang yung chatting time mo. They have to give you like
naka-slow down
yung slow
siya.
mode mo. Yung
Yeah,
slow mode mo ang
got
tagal.
it.
But anyway, speaking of play to earn and earning, this question I would like to ask kay attorney. Speaking of so since marami nang kumikita dito sa Axie right now. Now, what will be the policy our policy on taxation, yan, and income tax? Ano yung implication niyan? Lalo na maybe you can give us a guideline siguro for our players, for our managers and scholars who wanted to be good citizens of this country. Ayan. Para hindi negative yung ng tax. They wanted to be good citizens and they wanted to pay due taxes.
Yeah.
So, ano yung mga possible guidelines on the policies that we have?
Yeah, so I hope the community will see this as guidance rather than bad news. Okay, but the thing is, the word E in play to earn, or P2E, is earn, which means income.
Yeah.
And when there's income, that's covered by income tax as a general principle. And the way the tax law here in the Philippines is formulated is that it covers all types of income as subject to tax unless there is a specific exemption. All right. And there's no specific exemption right now with respect to crypto assets or earnings in cryptocurrency, whether that's Bitcoin or AXS or SLP. So therefore, once you receive or earn something in crypto, like or even SLP, that's already a taxable income. And you don't actually have to convert that SLP into peso for that to be considered as a taxable income. But perhaps the good news here is under the current state of the law, 200 your first 250,000 is tax exempt, and it's your income above 250,000
Per annum.
subject to a progressive rate of income tax, which means 250,000 is roughly around 20,000, more or less 20,000 pesos every month. So maybe project that if you're earning less than 20,000 in play to earn, that's not necessarily taxable unless
Tumatawa si
other
Luis
income
kasi
source.
hindi ganun yung earning niya.
It's a little bit higher than that, Raph.
Oo.
So,
Oo.
so I guess they're gonna be liable. So question, attorney,
Sure.
because I actually am very interested about kind of what the overall implication for the scholars is, no? Kasi, so whether or not they convert it into pesos, you're saying that they are expected to pay tax on it, but I assume that the calculation happens upon conversion.
Yes, at the moment of receipt.
Okay.
And there's gonna be that accounting issue, no, ng what's the price, but the tax regulator expects us to do proper bookkeeping, accounting, even though that is difficult, that is the expectation. But on general principle, you should book the rate or the price of SLP, AXS, or even Bitcoin at the moment of receipt.
Oh my
Ah.
God! Wait, you said receipt, not conversion.
No. At the
Oh,
moment
shit.
of receipt.
Okay, so in other words, guys, for the Axie Infinity players who are listening right now, when you click the claim SLP button, that's what he means by moment of receipt. He
Yes.
doesn't mean pag kinonvert mo siya into peso in BloomX. So that's
Yes.
actually a really interesting distinction, because I'm pretty sure most of these kids do not take note of the price at the time they click the claim button kasi wala namang price in the
Yeah.
interface when you do that, no? Huh.
Okay.
It
Wow.
seems impractical. However, the bad news is somehow the tax regulator expects us to be able to do that, regardless of how cumbersome, onerous, or ridiculous that is. Right?
So I take it back, guys. I don't actually have any Axie scholars. I was just kidding. I was just making that up.
It's on air, no? Recorded to Luis. So sorry.
I deny it. I completely. I was just making a story.
One tip lang din siguro, advice lang, practical advice naman sa mga managers at sa mga coaches. Siguro have even a simple contract in place lang.
Yeah.
Para hindi naman kayo din, para lang klaro yung deal nyo with them at hindi kayo ma-consider na employers ng mga scholars nyo. Because in substance, you're not. But baka lang, in case a scholar would argue that I'm being employed by my manager, we know in substance that it's not, right? From my superficial understanding, what you guys are doing is you're basically lending your
Yeah, that's close. That's very close. Yeah.
Oo. So mas malapit siya sa loan na arrangement eh. All right.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
It's not a work arrangement. It's not an employment arrangement. So, but maybe have a contract in place. Ang magandang initiative nga siguro dito sa Axie community, lalo na sa Philippines, dapat magkaroon ng initiative siguro to have a standard contract that the community can develop and reuse. No?
I actually like that idea a lot, Raph. That's a pretty good idea. Can I make an analogy and ask and see if you can map this one on to the Axie thing? So my analogy has always been na it's exactly like in 2015 when you had these middle class households who have a little bit of disposable income. So they will take out a car loan, they will get a second car, and then turn it into a Grab. And then they'll hire a driver to operate that Grab car 5 days a week, kunwari, and then on the weekends may extra car sila.
Yeah.
It's actually quite similar to that in the sense na yung the asset in question is the car, the driver has no ownership of the car. It's the, parang it's the investor or the household who owns the car. Tapos, I'm sure there's some version of this economic thing where the driver and the owner of the car split the revenue, maybe.
Yeah.
In that scenario, I don't know kasi if there were ever any contracts on these things.
Yeah, but in substance, we can consider that as an employment. Oo.
Kasi ganun na ganun yung ginagawa nila with Axie Infinity.
Yun na nga, pero I think that's why also I think it might be a good idea to have some contract in place, and the community can have a standard on this.
Okay.
It should be a conversation then between mga scholars tsaka mga managers,
right,
na klaruhin na hindi employees ang mga scholars.
Okay. So that...
Ayun ang medyo weird pa dito kasi eto na, meron ng potential issue na employees ba yung mga scholars, tapos we use the term scholar pa, di ba?
That's confusing already, actually.
Pero merong ganong uncertainty tuloy. Having a contract in place could resolve that issue.
So
employees sa mga scholars, and there's a fair arrangement with them. It's being lent, and they play. They earn something. They're not necessarily employees there.
So in essence, though, if let's say a scholar makes a little bit over than 20,000 pesos, now over 20,000, wouldn't that mean they would have to self-file?
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then that's another thing you'd have to teach them. Oh man.
Yun nga yung weird na problem dito eh. Kasi kung ganun yung arrangement, parang familiar tayo sa aside from the example or analogy given by Luis, we're familiar with the jeepney drivers, right?
Yeah.
The boundary system. No? So under the law and court decisions, they're considered employees of the operator of the jeepney, even though they only earn the income that is on top of the boundary. So you can see yung relevance ng mga analogies natin doon sa risk that the managers can be viewed as employers. No, it's not an exact analogy, but it somehow helps us become aware of the potential legal issues here. So, and having a contract in place will help resolve that issue. Now, but I think hindi talaga employee yung mga scholars. By the way, I also don't know the deals. Wala pa namang standards dyan eh. Di ba?
Wala pa.
Your deal with your scholars are different to, for example, Luis scholars eh.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, we're trying to standardize it, but the community is decentralized for a reason, right?
Yes.
Like, it's meant to have its own approaches to these things. In our case, ang sinusundan namin na ratio is 30% to the investor, which is me, and then 10% to the manager, and then 60% to the scholar. So the scholar is actually making the lion's share of the earnings.
Yeah.
Tapos I'm just silently there converting SLP. Ganun lang yung trabaho ko.
My honest view on this, in the way I understand it, is this is really like a lease lang talaga eh, rather than an employment eh. Pero kahit yung in-law, by the way, yung employment kasi as a relation or a contractual relation is also related sa lease. Kaya meron talaga siyang similarities. But I think what's important here is to be clear that this is not an employment. Yes, I may be leasing the NFTs, no, and I earn something there in the form of rent kahit pa on a commission basis siya. Doesn't change the fact that it's actually a lease.
Cool.
And then yung standard naman can be voluntarily adopted. It's something that the community can just have in place to help, diba? But the adoption is still voluntary sa mga
of course,
users nito, scholars or managers or
Grabe. Ang dami nating napag-usapan, and I hope our viewers have learned a lot from our session tonight. Maybe we could have a part 2 of this. If you wanted to have a part 2, definitely we will ask the gentlemen if they can guest again. Kasi ang dami pa nating dami pang left hanging on the things that we need to discuss about play-to-earn model and crypto gaming per se. So I think
in a couple of weeks, you'll definitely have another topic to talk about that's related to this. Kasi palabas na yung YGG token launch. So that's happening next week. Based on how that does, I think you'll have
another
more
set
stuff
of
to talk about.
So
for sure.
very, very exciting. But we have come to the point in time, since it's already 8:22 p.m., that we need to actually, and the gentleman here, I believe you must have dinner too. Pero thank you. We really appreciate, wow, by the way, we have 73 viewers, 75 viewers na hindi sila umalis. Mukhang mga fans to ni Mr. Luis Buenaventura. But so
Uh,
far,
Attorney
yeah.
Raff is bringing his network also.
Oh, sige, sige. But yeah. But anyway, but thank you very, very much for having us. Attorney Padilla, always with us, supporting our community. Maraming salamat. And of course, Luis, sabi nila, Luis, ano raw meron chismis, pero sabihin ko to on air, hindi ko na lang babanggitin sino competitor mo. May nagsiselos daw, kasi us on the other side, we're very pro Bloom X daw. Sabi ko, I cannot blame our community for being Bloom X, tawag ito, followers, kasi the guy is supporting kung ano yung ginagawa natin sa community, 'di ba? So yeah, if he is open and supporting, by all means, the crypto guys or the gamers per se, and the traders will definitely be following. Yun lang naman yun. So yeah,
Thank you so much. That means a
sa
lot. That really
competitor
means a
mo,
lot.
if they're watching tonight on this broadcast, galingan lang din nila. Diba? Yun lang yun. Galingan na lang din
Wow.
nila.
Okay,
So,
I'm
yun.
glad you said that and not me.
Oo. Oo.
So,
But
okay.
anyway, having said that, thank you very much. And it's very big help to know. By the way, we appreciate the way that si Luis explained it and si attorney about the earning, how to encash it, how to file, yung mga rules about filing the taxes and everything. So, I think there's more to it in the near future. Siguro we can also have in the next couple of sessions, if we will have that one, na guide on how to the managers and the scholars for a contract. Maganda pag-usapan yan eh. Kasi it will help a lot for all of our viewers. Marami sa mga viewers natin ngayon, gamers, scholars, managers who wanted to earn their keep while we are on a pandemic. So thank you, gentlemen.
Especially at this.
Maraming salamat. Ayan. So yeah. Any last words before we actually end the broadcast? Will be yung favorite natin, si Attorney Padilla will be first. Ayan.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, final takeaway ko lang, I'm really sensing, and I hope I'm right, that Axie Infinity is just a pioneer, but this will become a sunrise industry, and there will be, in itself, separate from the wider blockchain ecosystem or crypto ecosystem. And I think we really should closely look into the possibility of opening opportunities for livelihood for many Filipinos who can use this. And also, final takeaway, if I can just, one point very important, hindi ako nagsabi nito, it was actually Alexander Larsen, COO of Axie Infinity, who said this. It is actually our responsibility also to help our mga natin, kapamilya natin, kamag-anak natin, our friends, even our folks, to learn more about these things. And yeah, if it opens an opportunity for them in the same manner that this has opened an opportunity for us, I think we should do that. Another thing that excites me about this phenomenon is Philippines is a centerpiece, epicenter of all this play to earn phenomenon. So yeah, and if more Filipinos will participate, then probably before, di ba, we call ourselves the BPO center of the world. Maybe we can become P2E center of the world, no, in this emerging sunrise industry.
Right. Thank you, Attorney Padilla, for those comments. And now, let's turn to Sir Luis Buenaventura.
Thanks,
Ayan, sir.
guys. James, Sly, Raph, it was great to hang out. When we started BloomX, so we've been around for about 6 years now. When we started BloomX, the whole mission of the company was to make remittances for OFWs cheaper by using cryptocurrency somehow. Now that I've discovered Axie Infinity, P2E, and I've seen the whole metaverse Filipino worker phenomenon, I realize now that what our mission should be is we should make remittances unnecessary. Like, you don't have to go out of the country anymore to earn money. Just stay here, stay with your family, stay home, be safe, earn money that way, use the blockchain to earn money. And that's why Bloom is doing what it's doing. We want to make this stuff as accessible as possible to the average Filipino. Thanks so much for having me. I'd love to come on again. We can talk about YGG, about scholarship management, all of that stuff. Okay, fine. I was really being truthful when I said that I actually do have scholars. I wasn't, like I have to keep. Now I'm not sure if I should deny it or what. Now I'm kind of afraid. I don't want to pay taxes. Anyway, whatever. We'll worry about that some other time. Thank you so much, guys. I'll
Yeah.
catch you all soon. I hope you found that
Yeah.
conversation informational and entertaining. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Sir Luis. But actually, the least that you have to worry is taxes. The least that the thing that you have
God.
to worry right now is those comments on your feeds. Boss, pa-scholar, please. Yan. Yan ang
Okay.
makikita mo. Right
Okay.
after this broadcast, since you have it out, then you will see that on your wall. Overnight yan, bro. Trust me. Trust me. You will
Thanks,
have
guys. So
those.
I'll just tell them ano pa email na lang kay James Resistance Trader, no? That's what I'll say na lang. Yun na lang yung ano ko, default response ko.
Ginawa mo ko HR, bro. Anyway. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fly, anything. My partner in my co-host in this broadcast,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. Again,
Yeah.
when I come to these, these live streams, I always learn a lot, man. Seriously, this is another one of the great discussion topics we've covered, and it's great that we have Luisan and attorney Raphael with us today. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That's
All
it.
right. Yeah. Thank you very much. Also, we would like to thank all of the viewers who stayed with us mula sa start hanggang ngayon, no? Nandito pa, medyo marami tayo ngayon. We're like 75 na nagstay until the end. So, thank you. Hindi nyo alam gaano kami nagpapasalamat sa inyong lahat na nanonood dito sa broadcast namin today. And with that, I would like to say, see you again next time. Goodbye.
All right.
Bye-bye, bye community.
Bye, guys.
Gentlemen, thank you.